So weekend rain and storm, some much needed wet weather. We're timing it out in weather coming up.
And though this weekend rain could help lessen the drought, hear from a local fire department as they talk about how they're keeping you safe as the fire danger continues throughout these dry conditions. Plus, we're bringing you the weather extra on the return of La Nina and what that could mean for the rest of hurricane season, plus the typical weather we could see during the winter.
Live on your side. First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
And welcome into Weather Extra. Tania, you know, we're talking about some rain coming back this weekend. We need the rain, but it just feels incredible out there this evening.
It really does. It's hard to beat it, Wes.
I know. And how about how the temperatures drop? You and I were talking about last night. It dropped all the way to 53 degrees. That's coming off of a day in the 80s, that's also incredible.
I know. We're in this roller coaster ride of temperatures, these cool mornings, these crisp starts to the day, and then we really heat up for the afternoon. But I think we have another one of those, right, tonight?
Yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And again, it's all because of the dry weather. When you have these low dew points, the air is so dry, the temperatures take big tumbles, and that's why we saw that nice drop off, and we're seeing it already. We're down into the 70s in a lot of areas, but this is about as nice as it gets out there. Low temperatures for the overnight. I think in the morning we're going to be in the 50s. It's incredible when you look at this map. It looks like fall, right? When you see these temperatures, these morning lows. And next week, giving you the first alert Monday and Tuesday, I think we're going to see a lot of 40s. And this is a front that I was talking about a week ago that could bring some of the coldest air of the season so far. And we could go a little colder there Monday and Tuesday. I'm not seeing frost, but certainly seeing some cold starts to the day. Now, you flip over to the high temperature map, and it still looks like springtime, summertime, right? With those afternoon 80-degree temperatures. But the thing is, these kind of temperatures, they won't last long. So the afternoon, yeah, it's going to be hot, but once we move into the morning time frame, it's certainly going to feel like fall again. Severe weather outlook. We're watching Saturday night and Sunday for the risk of rain and storms. Notice for Sunday, no severe weather outlook for us right now. So we're not really seeing a big risk of severe weather, but we'll see a good chance for rain. There might be some rumbles of thunder. Most of the instability I'm seeing right now will be off to the west of Alabama. Chilly mornings, hot afternoons, and again, that next surge of colder air that's going to be moving in. As we take a look at some of the big games happening for this weekend, just giving you a first look at that kickoff forecast. You can see I know we're talking rain and storm Saturday, and the big question I'm hearing from a lot of you, I'm going to the game, I got tickets this weekend, will it storm Saturday night? This will happen the way it looks right now late Saturday night and during the first part of the day Sunday. So with respect to the Talladega race, hopefully we'll get most of this wet weather out of here during the early morning hours there on Sunday. But check in for updates over the next couple days because we haven't quite gotten into the time frame for the high resolution models. We'll be seeing that data coming up over the next couple days, and that will really lock in, fine-tune exact start times west, central, and the eastern part of the area. Want to pull in right now this is the wildfire map here from the Alabama Forestry Division, and I just want to show you, there's some areas in here. Let's see if I can back out where you can see these little markers. You see where we have all these little areas of yellow here showing up over the map. These are contained wildfires, and we checked in on that number. I believe right now we counted there's 36 contained wildfires in the state, 18 controlled wildfires, and 3 active wildfires, but we're seeing the active ones down in the southern part of the state. So bottom line here, there's a lot of fires still happening. It's extremely dry, so avoid burning. I know we're talking about weekend rain chances, but it is dangerously dry across the area. But this coming as the Alabama Forestry Commission, they just continue to restate the danger that we are dealing with respect to this extreme drought across the area. But we're on your side right now, looking at how your local fire departments are preparing to keep you safe. Your reporter Lauren Harkson talking with 2 departments for a closer look at how the dry season changes a firefighter's day.
So we get concerned when droughts happen.
The latest drought monitor showing all of central Alabama dealing with some form of drought, some areas more severe than others. Though firefighters work blazes every day, they must take the dry conditions into account.
Here in Fultondale, we cover a little bit of unincorporated Jefferson County that has no fire hydrants. So in that aspect, like this past Saturday, we did have a fire. We're concerned that it would spread into the woods, so we want to make sure that we have enough water supply.
Fultondale Fire Chief Justin McKenzie says they lean on other fire departments to ensure they have enough water, even during regular house fires. Because during a drought, they sometimes have to pre-treat surrounding trees to avoid spread.
We will worry about rescue first, and then we worry about the structure. And then the surrounding area, we will end up spraying down or wetting down before we leave. And we'll make sure that the conditions are right before we leave. That way nothing rekindles, it doesn't spread, and it doesn't get into the woods.
If the fire does spread, it becomes a completely different beast.
It doesn't take much for a large fire to occur.
Centerpoint Fire Chief Brandon Dolan says during a brush fire, a lot changes. From their protective equipment.
Some of our gear doesn't apply to outside vegetation, wildland firefighting. What protects us for an interior structure fire can almost hurt you on an outside fire because it doesn't allow the heat to get away from your body.
To their response plans.
Using ATVs, UTVs, light equipment, because the firefighting tactics for wildland are very manual labor based, manually cutting fire breaks, cutting trees, removing brush to create a fire break, to kind of control the fire.
All in order to protect you.
Well, one of the things that we often see this time of the year is we often see tropical systems, right, that has an impact on our rainfall budget. So one of the reasons why we're so far behind in the rainfall, we had the lack of rain really started around July, continued through August up to this point. We have not seen a landfalling tropical system, which can add to that annual rainfall budget as we go into the fall. And right now, as we go to meteorologist Tania Michelle, we're looking at the tropics and the way this season is shaping up. We're getting closer to the time where we're seeing more of these cold fronts that sweep these systems back out to sea. And the hurricane season goes through the end of November, but chances are decreasing by the day we could see a system.
Yeah, Wes, I feel like these tropical systems are really struggling to develop and really intensify and organize in the whole nine. And this is exactly why we only have one named storm right now. We're tracking, though, Tropical Storm Lorenzo, but this system is really struggling in the far Atlantic Ocean. It's so far away from the East Coast, which is good news for us because we're not seeing any tropical impacts. But like Wes was mentioning, these tropical systems usually bring us some good amount of rain during these drier months and drier periods of the hurricane season. But we haven't gotten any, which is good news and bad news at the same time. But Tropical Storm Lorenzo is far out in the Atlantic Ocean. Maximum winds right now at 40 miles per hour, and it's really expected to weaken over the next few days and become a post-tropical system by Thursday. So we'll keep our eyes on it, but not seeing any impacts from that system here at home or across the southeast. So that's good news, but of course we're in desperate need of that rain. We do have rain chances in the forecast for this weekend. We'll give you a better look at that when we take a look at that 7-day in just a bit. Well, your First Alert meteorologist Matt Daniel joins us now with an explainer on La Nina and how that can impact not only the tropics, but also weather throughout the seasons.
Well, we are under a La Nina advisory. What does that mean? And how does a La Nina impact our weather as we make our way into the winter months? So let's explain what a La Nina is. And it's all about the water temperatures in the Pacific. So what happens usually is you get these trade winds that move from east to west, and it helps to bring in some of those warmer waters over into Asia. Well, sometimes those trade winds can be stronger than normal, and you'll get a lot of upwelling of cool water underneath the Pacific that rises to the surface, and you start seeing temperatures starting to drop below average in parts of the equatorial regions of the Pacific. So when this happens and we see those below average temperatures, that means we start seeing a La Nina. And based off what we've been noticing over the past several months, they have actually said we are now officially in a La Nina, but the big question is, how does that impact our weather going into December, January, and February? Well, usually in a La Nina, you start to see the jet stream go farther to the north. The jet stream brings in a lot of energy, and when you have that energy moving to the north, that usually means along the southern portions of the United States, we start seeing drier conditions, and normally for the southeast, we see temperatures normally above average. And when you have that jet stream farther to the north, you get more cool air, you get more active weather, especially towards the Great Lakes Northeast. And sometimes you can get some wet weather, maybe impacting the northern portions of Alabama and into Tennessee as well. So usually in an El Nino winter, we usually think wet and below average temperatures, and usually we think dry and above average for December, January, and February. And La Ninas are also known to maybe give us more of a severe weather threat as well as we go into the late fall and into the winter months. So something we'll just have to monitor over the next several months. So here's a look at the forecast for La Nina. This is going to be for December, January, and February, so pretty much winter. So the odds of seeing a La Nina during this time is over 50%, about 55%, and about a 42% chance of seeing near average conditions. However, this looks to be perhaps a short-lived La Nina, because by the time we get into January, February, and March, odds are lowering that we won't see a La Nina, but more likely seeing neutral conditions. So that could be good for us because you don't really want to be in a La Nina when we start to enter our spring months, because once again, La Nina can usually give us more of an active severe weather threat. So a lot can change. There's other patterns too, so it's still too early to know if that even means we're going to get a lot of snow or less snow, but just something we'll be monitoring over the next several months.
In 30 seconds, we continue to talk about the warm-up for the rest of the week, and we're taking you across the country to areas being impacted by rain and storms. We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra. Live look from Straight Mountain in Blount County, and clear sky, crystal clear. Should be a nice evening for sky watching, star-filled night. 70s right now, and those temperatures will drop down into the 60s. As we take note of what's on the way, notice this severe outlook for parts of Arkansas and into parts of Mississippi for Saturday. So we still see a system here. There may be enough instability where there might be a few severe storms, even a low-end tornado risk in those areas. So just a very subtle, very early sign of that fall severe weather season starting to ramp up there back to the west, but this will be much weaker by the time it reaches us. Let's jump ahead to tomorrow. Jacksonville, this is a live look right now. We're at 78. You can see a lot of tents set up. It's a dry evening, beautiful night there. This time tomorrow night, we've got Delaware and JSU, some college football happening, and if you are heading out to the game, just plan on another night. It's going to feel perfect for most of the game, but that chill will certainly be in the air for the drive home. But we're talking more about some colder mornings coming up next week and the weekend. Right now, let's go to Tania.
Well, thanks, Wes. Let's take our friends to St. Clair County. The EMA has a new tool to help keep you safe in severe weather. Officials say the new weather camera will help first responders work more efficiently while allowing you to see what's going on as it's happening. Deputy Director Charity Mitchum says adding this camera makes the EMA's job more efficient.
Be able to keep up with everything live, and the National Weather Service has access to this, so they can move the camera also. So if we got something coming in, they can tune in and look.
The camera is now up and running on Bald Rock. Well, taking you across the country now to places cleaning up after a weekend of severe weather in Alaska. Record-setting flooding took place after they were impacted by the remnants of Typhoon Halong. Take a look at this video. Oh my goodness. Check out these images of the National Guard moving in to help those impacted by the flooding. The storm damaging key roads and regional airports. It packed hurricane-force wind gusts and large waves with flooding displacing more than 1,400 people and prompting search and rescue. A coastal flood warning was in effect through yesterday afternoon. Severe storms strike parts of Arizona Monday. Here's the aftermath in Temp, where a microburst is believed to have hit one neighborhood. Storms uprooted trees that tumbled over onto vehicles and sidewalks, and one business complex had its roof completely torn off, and thousands of homes lost power. Residents today are now facing a significant cleanup to recover.
We were in our bedroom. We noticed that all the lights flickered. It got really windy. The rain was going sideways. I got her into the tub because you could feel just the immediate pressure change. And then we heard a long bang, looked out our bedroom window. We were, by the grace of God, the tree missed our apartment but smashed into the one directly next to us. But as far as we know, that nobody was home and nobody's gotten hurt.
And that city is Tempe. Tempe city officials said the storm displaced more than 130 people whose apartment buildings were severely damaged. Well, don't go anywhere. You're watching First the Weather Extra. We'll be right back here with that beyond the 10-day forecast and a look at that 10-day coming up after the break.
All right, welcome back into Weather Extra. I received this photo on the First Alert Weather app from Chuck Wesson at the Coleman County Fair and entered some large pumpkins there in the contest. One of these, I believe it was this one here, weighed over 500 pounds. But good luck there, Chuck, on the competition. But I guess, even though we haven't seen much rain, some of us know how to grow some large pumpkins, right? Even in drought conditions. But congratulations to Chuck there. Appreciate you sharing those photos with us on the weather app. It's going to feel like pumpkin weather tonight, pumpkin spice with those cooler temperatures coming back. We're going to see lows back into the upper 40s in a few spots in low 50s tomorrow morning. There's 7 o'clock out the door from Greensboro to Aniana. You can see 50s, Pell City around 52, Gadsden, Talladega, over towards Hamilton at 51s, and again, some of those low-lying locations and valleys and outlying areas easily could see a few upper 40s again tomorrow morning. But tomorrow afternoon, it's back to the mid-80s, but we're still seeing this 25 to 30 degree temperature swing because of these low dew points, because it is so dry. But with the low relative humidity, we're going to have that breeze coming back, still some dangerous fire weather conditions over the next few days, so to avoid burning. We're seeing more of those wildfire reports across the state of Alabama. But the rain's coming, a good chance. The global data is locked in on a chance of rain. We know we're going to see some wet weather here Saturday night and Sunday. Timing wise though, that's what we're really trying to fine tune. It looks like the window is going to be midnight to around lunchtime on Sunday. It could time out perfectly if the models don't change. I'm just concerned we could see some higher resolution data come in and it may want to slow things down perhaps. So we just need to wait and make sure that doesn't happen here. But looking at the forecast right now, it looks like most of the rain gets in here after the game Saturday night and before the race kicks off at Talladega on Sunday. But rain and storms possible. Not really seeing a major severe risk. I think we could see over an inch of rain out of this. But look back to the west here. What you're looking at is instability. We haven't talked about this map in a while, but when you break out the storm fuel, the instability, that really soupy air, you can see it tries to build in here, but again, it is battling these super dry conditions we have. A lot of times coming off of a drought like this, even when we see some of these severe weather parameters, it can kind of eat up some of that instability. I think for us, though, we're going to see mostly just rain and storms. The main severe risk is going to stay to the west of us, but we'll keep an eye on it. Again, this is late Saturday night and a Sunday morning. Until then, dry, and then we turn cooler Monday, Tuesday, and next week, and another chance of rain towards the end of next week. But Tania joins us again to go beyond the 10-day forecast. And Tania, looks like early next week, lows back in the upper 40s.
Yes, Wes, and I'm seeing highs in the mid-70s, so I think we have some real fall hopeful weather ahead of us. Let's walk through the 10-day forecast beyond the 10-day, October 22nd through October 28th. As we look across the United States, here across the southeast, we're actually trending above average in our rainfall, which is a good sign because we are battling the drought here across central Alabama, so we'll take the rain when we can get it. Let me walk you through the next big thing here at our next chances of rain beyond the one this upcoming Sunday. This is showing us October the 23rd. There could be a little front moving through, a little disturbance, bring a few showers mainly north, but I'm seeing another arrival of a front that following weekend. This is October the 25th. Another good chance for some rain as we close out the month of October. A front could bring us some more wet weather, maybe even a thunderstorm out of it that could dump some heavy rainfall. But beyond that, we're looking pretty dry, but that's still showing above average rainfall as we look 8 to 14 days out from now. Now, what about our temperatures? Cooler and drier air is expected to move into our area as we look 8 to 14 days out from now. So looking a lot less humid, and we could see some temperatures topping out in the mid-70s as we approach Friday, October the 24th. That's that beyond the 10-day forecast. We'll keep you up to date, but don't go anywhere. We're back with more First Alert Weather Extra after the break.
All right, Tania, looks like as we move ahead here, 10-day forecast, Saturday and Sunday, finally a little rain.
I know people are super excited about that because the yards are crispy, the grass isn't growing.
I know. My yard, it's amazing. I tried to water because it's just so dusty and it just gobbles it up.
I know.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can see close to an inch of rainfall in some areas. That's beneficial rain. We'll take it, right?
Yeah, I think up to an inch of rain. It certainly won't end the drought, but this is our best chance of rain we have seen in weeks. Now, the models have locked in. The big question is, once we start seeing some higher resolution data over the next couple days, will it trend a little bit earlier? I know we have a lot of ticket holders wanting to go to some games Saturday night. So right now it looks like it's going to hold off until later.
Yes.
And it may actually end up being good sleeping weather, right?
Honestly, and if it can just stay in that little window, those overnight hours into early Sunday and in right before the Talladega race, I think our people that have plans to go out to the race should be okay too.
Yeah, and listen, this is a good sign. I mean, I know we've been in a drought, but once we start seeing these fronts like this, it will pick up.
Yeah,
it will pick up. So 10-day forecast. So here we go. We've got cool mornings, 25 to 30 degree swing in temperatures. You and I had to do a double take when we saw the reported low for it today. It was like 53 degrees out there. Yeah, it's going to be like that again early tomorrow morning. Afternoon highs back in the mid 80s. Now next week you had mentioned, as we kind of looked in the long range, after this front this weekend, it looks like another big drop in temperatures. I posted about this last week, and I had a lot of folks asking me, where's this coming from? It looked like that we'll see some 40s for lows, not frost, but it will turn off colder, and then towards the end of next week, another chance of rain.
Oh, yeah, and those temperatures in the 70s, mid-70s possibly, 10 days out from now, quite perfect for the afternoon.
I know anybody need to take a day off.
Maybe me.
All right, we'll see you tonight at 9.